Musicals. The Joker. You love them. Probably. But not together. And that's where Todd Phillips comes in. Todd Phillips managed to take one of the most beloved and critically acclaimed villain stories of all time and managed to follow it up with what can only be described as a straight-to-DVD sequel. The Lion King 1.5 has more narrative impact than Joker Folie à Deux. And I thought Furiosa was gonna be the most disappointing movie of the year. So without further ado, go ahead and sing along incessantly. And let's get straight into it. We kick off the plot roughly 2 years after the events of Joker, where Arthur Fleck is now institutionalized at Arkham Asylum, a grim and soulless place where no joy is allowed. Just like Disney. The inmates are insane, the guards are more crooked than scoliosis, and the Joker tells jokes no longer. Until the day where he meets Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn, a damaged but strangely on-key inmate at a state institution. They get singing lessons together, go to court for a few days, sing, go back to Arkham, sing, back to court, sing, before going back to Arkham. That's it, dude. That's the fucking plot. Usually I take a bit longer to summarize a plot and break down the events and everything that happens. But that's the thing, dude. Nothing happens in this movie. So let's talk about it. Joker Folie à Deux is certifiably one of the strangest movies I've ever seen. I walked out of the theater feeling perplexed, like I had paid $15 for a bag of air. And I realized it was due to the fact that throughout the entire 2 hour and 18-minute runtime, absolutely nothing happens. Like, we start in prison, and then we go to court, and then back to prison, and then back to court, and then we see Gotham briefly for 37 seconds, which was the highlight of the movie, by the way, and then we go straight back to prison. There's an effect that happens in movies that follow this format, where we don't spend short bursts of time in a lot of places, but rather long periods of time in a handful of locations, which is that the less visual diversity you have, the more profound your story has to be. Because at the end of the day, this is entertainment, and if it's not entertaining, then my monkey brain doesn't like it. The best movie that I've seen that has a similar format is The Hateful Eight, which is also my favorite Tarantino movie of all time. And if you've seen The Hateful Eight, then you know that there's 2 locations in the entire movie, the Stagecoach and Minnie's Haberdashery, and the vast majority of the 3-hour runtime is spent on the latter. And if you're going to subject an audience to a 3-hour movie in 2 locations, or more accurately 1, you better make damn sure that you have an extensive character-driven narrative, which is very much the case. Joker 2 is the flip side of this coin, where we spend the entire movie in 3, or more accurately 2 places, and there's no discernible progress in anything outside of Arthur's character. And that leads to the second biggest issue that I had with the film, which is that Joker Folie à Deux is not the story of Joker and Harley Quinn, but rather the story of Arthur Fleck. And I want to specify that this isn't a problem of setting variety. I'm not saying that I want this to be, the next Jason Bourne with flashy cuts and jumping from location to location every 10 minutes. There is certainly a beauty in a more relaxed and relatable story of personal growth and fighting your demons and shedding your own skin to become the best version of yourself, which is present here. However, that's not exactly why I paid $15 to see a movie about the Joker and Harley Quinn. And I'm 99% sure that 100% of people don't give a shit about Arthur Fleck.
That doesn't make sense.
While there are a lot of good motives to make a humanizing story about the Joker,
God damn it. Well, what are you waiting for? Kick the hell out of me and get your standing ovation.
No, not this time. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want either of us to end up killing the other. But we're running out of alternatives. Perhaps it all hinges on tonight. I don't know what it was that bent your life out of shape, but maybe I've been there too. Maybe we could work together. I could rehabilitate you. You don't need to be alone. We don't have to kill each other. Let me help you.
I'm sorry, but no. No. It's far too late for that.
I think this specific approach is the worst one they could have possibly taken, in which our protagonist rises from his own ashes, washing away the sins from his past, while also yearning for change and leaving behind the monster that he used to be to live a life of peace and tranquility. That's a good story. But it's not a good Joker story. Part of the mythos of the Joker is that there's no apparent origin story or specific chain of events that made him who he is. The Joker fits the same character concept as Hannibal Lecter, which is an entity larger than life who cannot possibly be explained. They're agents of chaos who have a place in the world and keep the rest of us on our toes. No amount of backstory or Han Solos could ever fully envelop who these characters are or why it is they do what they do. Or, in the beautiful words of Mike O'Kane,
some men just want to watch the world burn.
Joker broke this mythology back in 2019, but it did so in a fascinating way with a brilliant and somber story about how the clown prince of crime came to be. Joker Folie à Deux is the exact opposite of that, where Arthur doesn't become Joker, but rather Joker becomes Arthur once again. And there is an aspect of this story that can be appreciated because it's empathetic to everyone. We all have our demons that we fight on a daily basis. Some win, some lose. But I think universally, we can all see a part of ourselves in Arthur Fleck, where we want to be better and at peace with ourselves, while others, or even our own ego, may want to keep us stagnant. This is where Harley Quinn comes in. Harley occupies the same space in Arthur's life that our ego occupies in our minds, which can be destructive and unbelievably reluctant to change, where one must choose one of two paths, the pain of transformation or the pain of dormancy. It's a very personal story that we can all interpret differently, but with the same outcome, and that's a commendable story any way you slice it. If this were its own movie, with its own name, unrelated to the Joker, this would be a drastically different video, and dare I say, this would be a damn good movie, because the shortcomings don't come from the narrative itself, but from the presentation. And I'm not blameless in this little Joker debacle, because about 50%, or more like 30% of the problems that I had with the movie came from my own assumptions. This is a story that I think everyone was hoping for. Joker meets Harley Quinn in Arkham, they fall in love, break out of prison, which is what they're mostly known for, and wreak absolute fucking havoc in Gotham, which is what they're mostly known for. I was even willing to overlook the musical aspect because I was expecting, that classic chaotic Joker Harley Quinn story where they just want to see the world burn. But I guess that's my own fault for having expectations. Oh wait, no it's not, because you advertised it this way. This film just fell so flat in so many ways. What didn't fall flat, surprise surprise, was Lady Gaga, who steals the show. And not in a good way. And I'm not part of the crowd that's gonna take a dump on Lady Gaga because she's like a woman or whatever.
Women.
I like her a lot, and I definitely think that she has some acting muscles to flex. But I also wouldn't be surprised if you told me that the only reason this movie is a musical was because of her.
She's an enormous talent, obviously, so we started writing it with her in mind.
I'm really sorry, okay?
What is wrong with you?
Ugh, jeez. Long story, let's just say it starts with
Warner Brothers.
being greedy, kleptomaniac, douchebag.
You actually this stupid? I mean, what the hell is wrong with you? I'm really asking.
I'm just gonna come right out and say it. I despised every single musical number that came in this movie, without exception. Not only are they so excruciatingly out of place in a film like this, but they're so intrusive, I want to file a restraining order. Anytime the movie gets even remotely interesting, or there's a development in the plot where I'm thinking, hey, this movie's actually pretty good. How this musical approach ever got past the drawing board is beyond me. And this is a pretty big factor with what I mentioned earlier when I said that nothing happens in the movie, is because the musical numbers completely obliterate any sort of narrative momentum. The breaks in the film dedicated to all these songs have the same weight to them as a commercial break.
Hi, I'm Saul Goodman. Did you know that you have rights? The Constitution says you do.
Every time a new song was introduced, I took the sweet time to check my phone, which is the last fucking thing you want your audience to be doing during your film. Not only do they kill the story, dude, they nuke every ounce of rewatchability. I will, in all likelihood, never watch this movie again, specifically because of the musical numbers. Because when it eventually comes to streaming, which is no joke already becoming a reality, I don't feel like picking up my remote to skip that shit 17 times. I can forgive the poor setting diversity. I can forgive the lackluster narrative. I can even forgive the fact that this is so far away from what a Joker and Harley Quinn story should be. Because regardless of the imperfections, there is some anecdotal depth to be appreciated here. But the killing joke that I can't forgive is the musical. If you have $15 and nothing better to do, then you might find some enjoyment in Joker Folie Deux. But if you have $15 and literally anything better to do, you're probably better off doing that. In conclusion, Joker Folie Deux is a tried and true example that not every single movie needs a sequel. Arthur Fleck's story of acceptance and mutation is the small pearl within this giant, ugly, smelly oyster of a film. Todd Phillips has taken a page out of Cheddar Bob's book and shot himself in the foot with what may join the list of worst sequels of all time. I know for a fact it's in mine. Just like Taika Waititi, they work best when managed properly, but give them a little too much creative freedom and they become self-destructive. The saving grace of this movie is that, spoilers, Arthur Fleck is killed, therefore ensuring that we won't be subjected to Todd Phillips' sick audible torture ever again. I can only hope that other directors take a good look at the outcome of this movie and come to realize that a great film can be just that, a single great film that we can watch and love and come back to for comfort, and not because its offspring was so meaningless, I want to remind myself of what once was. I only wish Todd Phillips had come to realize this himself before it was too late. But with that said, I think it is time for the rating. Joker Folie Deux earns a very unfunny 4 out of 10. Make sure to hit that big red button underneath so you don't miss a single upload on the channel. Be sure to check out the latest upload where I had a much better time with Death Note. Also, check out my Black Ops 6 video where I give you my first gameplay impressions as we get closer to release. Be sure to also check out my Disney D23 Expo video where, just like Todd Phillips, I don't hold back. Follow me on social media as well so you can stay up to date on when new videos are coming out, get some short form content, maybe shoot me some ideas. We can shoot the shit together. Thank you guys so very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. My laptop's having a fucking seizure. Then you know that the